Josiah, thank you for agreeing to speak with me today. It's been such a joy to have you here. You have one of the most amazing attitudes I've ever encountered, and you're an inspiration to everyone to me. And I think you were injured in the ocean, I believe, and you broke your neck with some friends. And fortunately, they were right there and were able to pull you out, and you had a paramedic there who was sort of miraculously was part of the group and was able to make sure you were stabilized and not further injured. And I think you've been classified as an Asia A. But you have, I believe, the VA in Memphis, where you were in the hospital for the first time after your injury, had you filmed you doing mat work to show parents how to do mat work. So people that are not cervical injuries, but thoracic or lumbar injuries, how to do mat work. But I would love for you to just talk a little bit about it. It's been a long wait, and you were here over the holidays, then went back to Nashville, came back home to Nashville, then came here and could stay here, as you know, for 6, 8, 12, whatever, 18, whatever number of months you need. But you've gotten a chance to get in the pool a little bit. You've been using the Locomat, started the clinical trial this week. Yep. So I would just love, to tell the our sort of donor audience a little bit about the All-Core 360, the clinical trial, the Locomat, maybe the VA, and what equipment is and is not available, why this has been important for you in your recovery.
Okay, yeah, for sure. So the main thing is at the VA, the biggest issue I noticed while I was there was a lack of equipment, therapy equipment for individuals who are quadriplegic, paraplegic, anyone with a spinal cord injury. They have a lack of therapy equipment at a lot of our current VA facilities. So coming here to Ross's place and being able to use all this equipment has just been incredible. I know after my accident, I'd been speaking with my friends about how cool it would be to get in some sort of miracle situation where I can do the modern cutting edge therapy, use modern cutting edge equipment. It would be part of clinical studies and trials. But at the time, it was really just a pipe dream. It was just something we were hoping for. And then it was just shocking. A few months later, we got a call from Ross Mason saying I could come here and use all this equipment, the All-Core 360, the Locomat. So that's been fantastic. What else were you asking about, Ross?
Well, and you have gotten an FES bike over here from the VA.
Yes.
But you're using an hour or two a day?
I do. I use the FES bike usually 2 to 3 hours a day. So this is from the VA, which is fantastic. The VA did provide me with a standing frame and an FES bike, which is awesome. And this FES bike here is actually better than the FES bike that the VA has at their medical facility, which is incredible. The one at the facility didn't have the electrodes. It would just pedal your feet in a circle. It wouldn't actually stimulate the muscles. But yeah, I've been using this every day. I've been using the All-Core or the Locomat as much as I can. Right now I have a few wounds on my ankles, so I've been letting those heal up first. But what I will say about the Locomat is one of the biggest things I've noticed since using it is I can feel the heel strikes more and more clearly going through the bone in my leg, up into my spine. I can feel the vibrations. There's more and more sensation as I walk, as I take each step. And that sensation really, it's exactly what you need to stimulate that healing. Just like my dear, dear friend Ignacio said over there, it's all about hope and motivation combined with good therapy and, protein. And that's really the key.
Well, and you've got your standing frame that the VA gave you in Nashville. And then with our standing frame here, you've been using mine, and you're able to get yourself in and out of your chair. And I come in there, and you've gone from the bed to the chair on your own, and the chair to the standing frame. You've hoisted yourself up in the standing frame. You're in there watching television. But talk about how you hope that the stimulator, and Ignacio, I know, has shared with you that he uses a power plate under his standing frame, which we can certainly get set up for you here. We have lots of different kinds of power plates. But what you were just sharing, some of the plans you had with the stimulator, and we've also got, obviously, that there's a power plate right there, one of several that we have that I purchased or that have been donated to us, that you use in the pool room, hanging from the Hoya in the pool room. We just talk about the activation with the stimulator that we were just having a conversation with Ignacio about with the standing frame, and what that's going to do to try to activate your muscles, your posture, your bone density.
Yeah, so the other day I used the new E-stim equipment for the first time ever as part of the clinical trials. And what I noticed right off the bat, the biggest thing it did for me is it straightened my posture up. I tend to slouch forward a little bit because not all the muscles in my abdomen and lower back are engaging. But while the stimulator was on, I noticed I was able to sit much straighter and had much better posture the whole time. This combined with being in the standing frame is going to help me stand at a much more natural position and help train those bones and muscles and everything to work together again as one solid piece. So yeah, that's what I'm really hoping for. I've only used the stimulator once so far, so all I can say is my one experience, but the one experience was very good, and I'm very excited and motivated to keep using it and to see how much function I get back and how quickly it comes back, and just to watch the process happen.
Ignacio has been, how long have you been using the stimulator in Los Angeles, Ignacio?
Been using it in different experiments.
Yeah, but you started the clinical trial.
A year and a half.
18 months.
Yes.
So what have you recovered and what can Josiah hope to recover through the process of the stimulator? What did you notice? Every injury is different, every person's different, every situation's different. I understand that. But you've now watched Peter, you've watched Jeannie. What do you think are the critical factors and what has changed with your physiology, metabolism, function, sensation through the stim and it's been a whole range of issues. You walked 650 miles in the Locomat before you did the stimulator. You've thrown absolutely everything you can at your rehab and recovery. But what do you think the stimulator has allowed you to do or recover that you're excited about? And what are you most excited about in the future?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, maximizing all the activity-based training protocols and everything that I could do non-invasively came with that 650-mile, 12-month protocol that I did for my master's thesis here at Georgia Tech in the biomedical program. And it was through that protocol that I was able to change my diagnosis from an Asia A, complete spinal cord injury, meaning I had no sensation, function, or movement below the level of injury, to an Asia B, meaning I now had new sensations below the level of injury, but no motor control at all. I just had new sensations, and I went to Los Angeles to evaluate the transcutaneous electrical stimulation, which is not implanted. It's the least invasive type of electrical stimulation on the lumbar and lower thoracic spine that is able to, like I said earlier, neuromodulate is the exact word, to excite the central nervous system. And it allows those currents, those electrical stimulation currents, to find the intact neural pathways. What we found, and Dr. Harkema from Louisville, Kentucky, the former director of the Christopher Reeve Foundation, if not, I think she still is. But I remember meeting with her and her saying to me, there really is no such thing as a complete spinal cord injury, because what we've determined is that even with the most complete spinal cord injuries, there's still intact neural pathways that are not strong enough to do anything by themselves, but they're still there. And what this electrical current does is it finds those intact neural pathways through the bruising, through the scar tissue, through all the trauma in the spinal cord, and is able to allow the brain signals of effort, of wanting to do something or activate. It allows those brain signals to travel down those electrical currents, those pathways, and reach the lower extremities. And retraining those neural pathways and that signaling that's going down is the absolute key to this. And learning how to train that is where you incorporate the effort-induced training and the visualization. Visualizing and seeing that you are moving your legs and that it's not the exoskeleton, that it's not the Locomat, that it's moving your legs, but imagining that it is you moving the treadmill with every step that you're pushing the treadmill back. So that was that's been the biggest finding. Once I started experimenting with the transcutaneous electrical stimulation, I felt like my body below the level of injury was being literally turned on. The neuropathic pain would reduce. I would start sweating. My metabolic rate would increase. I started burning calories. Everything, all the physiological systems in my body started to regulate and synchronize like never before. My digestion, my going to the bathroom, my bladder capacity expanded. I was able to go to the bathroom in less than 20 minutes, something that normally would take an hour. What else? My temperature regulation. I was able to regulate my body temperature. I no longer feel like I'm freezing cold, especially in the evenings. My spasms went down. I would be able to sleep a full night's rest without any crazy spasms throwing me off. And those are some of the most important findings that at times are not talked about. People mostly think about reversing paralysis involves moving and getting up from the wheelchair and walking again. But it's these secondary complications and physiological issues that sometimes affect dealing with the paralysis and the lack of movement even more. Because you first have to stabilize yourself and your health before you can really focus on the primary concern. And the electrical stimulation then, that was the first phase of our experiments, was stabilizing all these physiological systems. Like I said, I think I mentioned I started sweating as well, and that was part of the regulation of the temperature. But once all my physiological systems were stabilized and synchronized, then came, how do we transition from Asia B, having new sensations but no movement, to an Asia C, which meant having movement below the level of injury. And that's when we started walking with the exoskeleton, the exobionic exoskeleton in combination with the electrical stimulation. And what that did for me was gave me the ability to start wiggling my toes with the electrical stimulation on. It's something that is voluntary, but it's not consistent. It requires a lot of mental training. Like I said, you can stimulate the spinal cord as much as you can, and you can use amazing technologies like these. But it's only when you mentally train yourself to try and to give your maximum effort that your brain starts to recognize that pressure, that sensation, and tries to recreate it automatically without you even paying attention. You automatically start trying to recreate those new sensations. So now that I'm in Asia C, I've begun moving my legs and my toes in a cyclical pattern in zero gravity. And we're excited for what's to come.
That's it, Ross?
Yeah, thank you. And I want to thank each of you, our donors, for making this possible, this clinical trial, which has been years in the making. I've been injured for 14 years. I tried to donate a Logomat to a local hospital, and they didn't want to do anything. They said it was not appropriate to focus or help anyone with complete injuries. I think the science there was not far enough along. But God bless Ignacio for his can-do, never say never, never give up, persevering attitude. And I think we're making one breakthrough after another. I think between his background and Hilda's and their partnership, they're going to absolutely transform what's possible and make it probable and make it inevitable. I'm excited to have Josiah here. And I appreciate you giving us the opportunity to work with these kinds of people and families, Madison Johnson as well, and demonstrate what is possible and make it inevitable. God bless you.